Pierre.
Welcome back to the early edition morning with the hockey coach guru, Coach Frenchy, back in the booth. And we have to find all the way Michael Devellano directly from Columbus, Ohio. Welcome, everybody. It's Friday, another first weekend for the NHL. And that's what we are looking for sure. Played a game last night, so I'm sure, Michael, you're going to review all the game. And
so many games. Yeah, it was pretty crazy last night, Pierre. First off, we have the confirmation this morning, though, of a big signing. We heard this yesterday, which was Charlie McAvoy, and we knew it was going to be a big number. He signs for 8 years, $9.5 million. And I think the interesting thing about this for me, Pierre, is he's never played a full season in the NHL. He's always either been injured or, even last year he missed games. He played 51 games, I think. I don't think he's played more than 63 in a given season. Now, he's consistently been like a 30-point defenseman, but it seems like this is the math now, right? It's like if your number one defenseman is like even 30 to 40 points, he's getting $8.5 to $9.5 million.
Yeah, but overall, he's a guy that plays where, honestly, he's maybe the top 10 defenseman, maybe close to 5 at some point.
I think you're right.
He's not only it's not about the offensive he bring on the table. He's maybe one of the best defensemen in NHL on both sides. So I'm talking about defensive side, offensive side. Talking a guy can carry on the puck, can play on power play, can play on PK. So it's more like a complete players versus other players, like one-dimensional player. Example like Doug Hamilton, right? So he have an average about 23 minutes and he play in NHL. Honestly, he played 51 to 56 game. He played 67 of the 70 game. So he's pretty much play 95% of all the game usually since he play in the NHL. So for me, he's a number one, for the Boston Bruins as a defenseman. But also he's the maybe one who's going to, you need a guy like this as a quarterback. You can see Montreal don't have a guy like him. That's the reason why I believe Toronto will have to keep Morgan Riley. So he's an exception of the team. Is like Roman Hosey is what Aaron Ekblad does for Panthers. So they are all now at that number, about $9 million, 8.5 to $9.5 million. So for him, he's 23 years old. That's gave Boston also carry on is what almost like 4 years, at least 4 or 5 years over the UFA. He's going to be only 32 years old at the end of his contract. He's going to be enough old and not, he's going to be enough to have another contract like Rand Sutter every time. I will see what happened about him. But look, I think it's a great signature for him. It's a great signature for Boston Bruins. And he become the highest players salary for the Boston Bruins. Over like Bergeron, Marchand, and Pastrnak, but he deserves it. And when those Bergeron and Marchand's leaving, he's the one to carry on that team all the way. So I think that it's a well done. As the market is for defensemen now, Michael, it's that area. It's a $9 million. So it's not like he's still something there. And I think, Michael, at the end of this contract, I really believe the salary cap for the NHL is going to be over $100 million.
I agree.
So it's going to be almost like a cheap at 9.5 at 30, 31, 32 years old.
Yeah, I think that's what everyone's banking on, is that getting these young guys under long-term contracts. It may seem like a lot now, and I understand what Eater's Tap says, because I get both sides of it. You've never paid anyone more than $7 million in that organization. So now you've got this guy at 9.5, but the salary cap is going to be 82.5 next year. It's going to go up to 90 in the next 4 or 5 years. And at the end of this contract, I think you're probably right. It's probably touching 100 million. So I think a lot of those salary cap numbers are based upon baked in revenue escalations. So they know they've got more revenue coming in over time. They have 32 teams. So the overall revenue share with the players will probably go up. It unlocked another tier of the hockey TV contract because Seattle's in. So now you got Vegas and Seattle in that mix. So overall, I think they can project out a little bit. And there's numbers that are shared with GMs that, help them make these types of decisions. So it's good for him. Again, I have a little bit of a concern that he's never played that many games. So we hope that he gets like an 80-game season and at some point at that type of money. because there is a big drop off after him. Like on that roster, it goes down to like probably Matt Grzelcyk and then Brandon Carlo, who aren't bad defensemen, but there's a big gap there. I mean, he definitely is the horse of that team.
Well, yeah, I think I'm a little bit disagree with Enotar about that. He's a guy you have an average about plus 20 per season. That's give you an idea how he played.
Right.
He played 24 minutes per game. That's number 2 there. You have 30.51 game last season. So the guy's going to get about 50 points per season if he carry on what he does usually. At least going to be 45 points. And again, I mentioned those numbers. It's not necessary as an offensive player. He's a complete defenseman.
Yeah, for sure.
The defensive side play a big role on this contract over there. So for me, that's what we are. That's that you cannot have a Charlie McAvoy at $7.5 million.
It wouldn't
Austin
happen.
Bruins cannot pay. Pasternak is going to get $10 million. You say, oh, because we have a culture at $6.57 million, we stay there. It's not who we are anymore. And you can go with Barkov, just find $10 million. That's what the national is going to be. And you have to pay your best player. The number 1 defenseman for Boston is McAvoy. And you pay those kind of money. So for me, I'm not that agree with that part because I believe it's a really, really great defenseman in his show.
He's a great defenseman.
Because if you go that way, if you have that, you said, yeah, but he only 32 points. I would turn around to you. I would say, look, Doug Hamilton, he scored 15 goals per year, but look his defensive side.
I mean, Dougie Hamilton's improved defensively, but he's not perfect. And I would say McAvoy, to your point, is probably a little bit more reliable. Overall, you probably think, Doug Hamilton is not a Boston Bruin. They traded Doug Hamilton, right? They got rid of this guy because of his personality. He's a little bit quirky. And McAvoy, I think, fits their culture. The going rate for this type of defenseman is $8.5 to $9.5 million. And I think in the end, Morgan Rielly knows he's going to get the same. And they're going to have to make some other moves to free up the salary. So I think Morgan Rielly is in the same realm. I can't see him being worth 10 or 11, but I can see him worth 8.5 to 9.5. And I don't know if anybody considers Morgan Rielly a top 10 defenseman.
But that's the way a role of a defenseman number 1 in any team. That's what they are right now, right? So it's a Quinn Hughes, it's all those kind of players carry on that money, and that's what it is. That's what you're going to be. So he's
Hey, I would rather have. Sorry to cut you off. I would rather have Charlie McAvoy than Adam Fox. I would rather have Charlie McAvoy than Quinn Hughes. I mean, I think he's a better overall defenseman personally. He's not lacking offensive skill. He's not lacking offensive creativity. He is the quarterback, and he's way better defensively. He's a bigger body. And for me, I'm like, I would rather pay him that money than Quinn Hughes.
At that moment right now, what we talk about, I think Quinn Hughes is a one-dimensional player.
I agree.
You know what I mean? I don't say he's like Dyson Barry, but my point to you is a kind of player what Dyson Barry is. It's a one way. It's only on offensive side.
One way. So for me, I think it's a good. It's not like it's saving the money, but it puts a piece in place, and it ensures that you're not going to have other teams trying to grab this guy in restricted free agency, and it ensures he's going to be a part of the core for a long time, and you can build around him. It's like you got your most important piece in place, and that's what this is all about in the end. We do want to say good morning quickly to Jarmo, our friend from Finland is here. Obviously, we've been talking to Enertap. Our Bud the Monkey is here this morning, Pierre, and he was mentioning that Bobrovsky did amazing last night aside from all the goals he let in. I don't know how that works.
But that's how he is. Yeah. That Bobrovsky is what he become. He's going to be a 3-point game goal average, but he's a guy who can give about 4 goals. You need to score 5, 6 goals when he's on the net. That's what Bobrovsky become over there. It's a one way to another way. He make an amazing, great save. Then after that, he make that goal. He was not lucky on the last goal for Pittsburgh. He make an amazing, great save. The guy was behind the net, and he moved all the way outside the net, and he shoot the puck. He hit the legs of McKenzie. So it was not his fault at Bobrovsky. But at the end of the day, that's what you get for Bobrovsky. It's a 3.00 now. But again, Florida is unbelievable. They did exactly what they did last year. They losing at the third period. They come back and they find a way an OT.
That's
And
good.
if you are really nervous or thinking Aaron Ekblad is not back, you see
No,
already him produce to go. And again, Carter Verhey. Imagine Carter
that's great.
Verhey. He was with the Tampa Bay Lightnings.
Right. 2 goals, Pierre, in his first game. This
Yep.
guy is showing, and we saw this in Tampa. We were like, this guy looks really good. And it's like, yeah, he is good. This is not your imagination.
Yep.
Yeah. We want to say good morning to Mark Roy has joined us, or Mark Wah. Ellen has joined us, and she says the Habs were missing in action last night. Something's got to change in the lineup. And we have Chainsaw Man and Johnny Golden are here. Looking at the game, so we kind of talked about this, and I think putting McAvoy in the top 10 could be realistic. He could fall out of the top 10 too, but in the end, I think this is the going rate, and that's just the reality of it. All right, let's look quickly. We know it was a rough game, Buffalo and Montreal last night. First of all, aside from obvious concerns about the Montreal defensive play, the overall intensity of the team, and the question marks in goal, we know they had and good morning to Kimberly as well. We know they had a long playoff run. They're probably still coming down off of the hangover of that. They don't have Carey Price. They don't have Weber. They still don't have Hoffman. But do you like, first of all, if you flip it for a second, do you like what you see from Buffalo so far?
I don't want to talk about Montreal, but I'm going to talk about Buffalo.
Yeah.
Great team, I think, is another team you're going to get. It's a little bit what Ottawa are last season. No expectation, no pressure. We're not good. Everybody going to laugh about us, but they have maybe one of the top 5 coach in NHL in
I
my
think
eyes.
so.
It's
Maybe.
Granato. And look what he did, Granato, when he showed up last season after the how many games they lost and they fired Ralph Krueger. He picked it up a little bit, one game at a time. He's building a culture and a system for the player he has, and they build on it and they buy in, and they are all in at that moment. You see a team where the power play is strong. They have 3 goals yesterday. Olofsson score always, and power play is pretty good. Dallin looked great. The veteran Akposo scored yesterday. But they have a blue-collar team also. I think their young kids is pretty good. Carlson didn't have no point yesterday, but he's looking good. And they have a Skinner. They have 2 points yesterday. And the defensive, it's not great. But and then the veteran, that's not make them the top 10 in NHL. I'm talking about this. Sure. I just said they are maybe going to have some night. They're going to surprise some team with no preparation. And a team like flat where they are, the Montreal Canadiens. They took advantage of completely team did not show up with no walk it sick, and they just did not want to show up or play hockey game yesterday. You cannot blame any one of them. You blame the 20 player was wearing the jersey of Montreal Canadiens yesterday. Really bad game. On the 8-2 game, you're going to have about 5, 7, 8 game like this, unfortunately. And this happening at the game number 2 of the season. And that's what happened yesterday. Very bad performance on Montreal Canadiens. But the flip side, we have to. My point here is just said Buffalo, they're not looking so bad what we think they are. And again, they're going to finish the last 4 in the NHL.
I think so.
But you have to give credit for what they did yesterday. A great present. But again, Greg Anderson has always been Martin Brodeur in the Montreal Canadiens. He's always been a great goalie. He's always win.
He's a good goalie. He's just old.
Montreal Canadiens. It's just like Montreal did not take advantage of a team that were going to play for 500 and last 2 points and the standing, what is going to be important at the end of the year. So that's what is more hurt to anything else. At the end of the day, you have a lot of questions about that one with them, because I think Montreal have to wake up at some point. That'll be when you go to final like that, right? You go to semi-final Stanley Cup. You look in the mirror or you walk around and you say, wow, we look great here. Oh, we look good. They feel like they've been there, they did it, and now look at us. Now, yesterday, what they did is to realize they are not what they're supposed to be, and they are far to be what they want to be. So they have a lot of work in front of us. And like Dominic Cham said yesterday, when you have a young kid at 2 years old, you tell him, don't put your hand on the stove because you're going to burn your hands, right? But that's what happened to them yesterday. We are thinking you are great. Now they hit the wall yesterday, and now they're going to see how they're going to react. But and resume, that's my point about that one over there. And I'm
Yep.
not going to blame one player from the
No,
top to the bottom. Bad game.
I'll point out a couple of things. One, Casey Middlestad, 9 minutes. Was he sat at some point or was he hurt?
I'm sorry again.
So Casey Middlestad, who was an important offensive
he left the
contributor,
game. Yeah.
he left the game injured.
Yep.
So that's unfortunate. I think Hinostroza looks like he's fitting in well. He's a skilled player with some experience. He might be more of a third line guy, but they got a bunch of them. It's good to see Okposo contributing. Cody Eakin is always very reliable. So they've got some pieces here. Jeff Skinner actually looks pretty decent.
I know it's that they work. They overwork Montreal Canadiens. That's simple at the end of the day, and they took advantage of power play, and they scored 3 goals. You're not going to win a game when you have 6-minute penalties, a 6 power play against when you gave 3 goals on power play. You're not going to win any game. But they took advantage of the opportunities. Montembeault maybe 1 or 2 goals should stop, but at the end of the day, it's not because only him. Give credit for the Buffalo, but again, it's not a team is going to play for 500. They are not, but some night you're going to be faced a team what they're thinking. They are not great. They play their system. The defense is not great, but they stay inside their system. That worked yesterday. We'll see happening other game, but last night they took advantage. The team did not show up. That's at the end of the day.
Good morning to Frank Salazar. We've also got Vallejo has joined us, our other Finnish friend. I will comment on Columbus, have great fans. We're going to talk about that game. Arizona has no goaltending, and I think it's by design. The guy who played amazing, Pierre, that we'll talk about is Ms. Lurkins in that Columbus versus Arizona game, because the Columbus D, even as a team in that group, were not good last night. They had a lot of chances against them, and Ms. Lurkins played great. The other end of it is Carter Hutton, who did not play great. And I'm not surprised. And the atmosphere is very good. They have great fans. Columbus has great fans. They tailgate, they show up. It was awesome. We'll talk more about that. I want to buzz through some of these games. 8,000 people showed up to Buffalo, Pierre. So that's kind of interesting. It'll be interesting to see what happens with that going forward.
Well, it's a little bit normal. You have a team, they let it go, a couple of things. They know the organization did not do well, and their fans are upset about that. Also, the inflation in Buffalo never been it's not New York, it's not like LA, so it's a city was more blue collar, everything like that, and they suffer with the economies going on around Buffalo, and then honestly, that's what they are right now, and they don't trust they don't trust the organization right now. And if you are a Buffalo fans, I will stay home also until they prove to me they want to win and they go in the right direction, and not to go what they are doing right now. Because at that moment, you have one of the best player. And the NHL, you treat him like nobody, and that as a fans, you upset about that.
Yeah, I think it's also a bigger issue that we're not understanding, which is people can't go across the border to the game, and they know that a lot of the people that go to Buffalo Sabres games come from
you
Canada.
can now.
Not till November, and people
they can now. The people cross the border
now
with a double of vaccination. It was announced yesterday or the day before that.
But I think it's not till November. So right? I think it's affecting their attendance for sure. You're going to find out how many fans come from Niagara and how many fans come from Hamilton. But so specifically Niagara, that area, there's a lot of people that go across border to Buffalo Sabres games. So I think that's what they're understanding right now is like, whoa, wait, we need the border open for Buffalo to fill this arena. Yeah, you can go, but they're still not going across. So I don't think a lot of people know that. And officially they're saying to go from Canada to US is November. Or maybe it's the other way around. It's one of the two ways is November. Anyways, I want to keep going. So we saw Ottawa jumped out to a 3-0 lead last night versus Toronto. It looked pretty rough for Mrazek, but then they kind of battened down the hatches and clawed their way back. Anton Forsberg, because Matt Murray couldn't start last night, made 46 saves, Pierre, and Ottawa hangs on to a 3-2 win against Toronto. So that was an interesting game. William Nylander scores again. We see Jason Spezza get a goal and an assist and kind of prompt the comeback. We know they still don't have Austin Matthews. You're going to go in 2 weeks. Great. However, you got to be happy if you're at Toronto about how Nylander's playing, and Spezza from the fourth line moves up in the lineup a little bit, and he's taking a leadership role, which I think is positive news for Toronto. Good news for Ottawa is they played really well.
I think the key to this game is the last Nedeljkovic during the game. That will be something you have to follow up today. Their injury about is how long he's going to be out is a groin. So a goaltender groin could be long time, it could be short time, depends.
Exactly.
Is it just at the beginning? That's for me. You have two things I just want to mention at the beginning. I should go that way. At the beginning of the season, guys, in hockey, it's a cow. It's just where you're going to see a lot of things could happen. And fans jump too quick on the result right away about that. So you have to be a little bit more patient, see what your team look like. We have a lot of things go around. 7-6, 8-2. They're all
Crazy.
still working right
They're
now
still
as a
working it
little
out.
bit like a preseason game at that moment. But you can see the execution is not there. You can see some teams struggle more to anybody else. And then sometimes you think, it's like someone, anyway, I don't want to get there. But yeah,
No,
all those
you're
things
totally
where
right.
you have to realize. So you have a lot of injuries happening in yesterday, and that would be affect a couple of different things. Also, the COVID-19 could be another problem. So
Maybe.
you can see a couple of key measures could change the things. For me, yesterday, what I'm proud, or not proud, I'm happy, is to see right now everybody back in the building and watch
Yes.
a normal hockey
Numbers
game
are
with
back.
players to see. Think about this. Alexis Lafreniere, for the first time in his life, you see 20,000 people in the building. He
Good
played
point.
for 500 days. Nobody was there. The first time he played in NHL, his second year, you realize, oh, wow, we had 20,000 here. That's pretty funny. That's pretty cool. So overall, that's question. But again, last night, Ottawa, Toronto, it's an Nedeljkovic injury. And then the performance at Anders Forsberg, that was the key yesterday. But again, Toronto losing 3-2 against Ottawa, and that's another team. If Montreal fans are jumping over the team, Toronto should not be too happy about what's going on. Because honestly, beat Montreal 2-1 the night before. It was not a great game. Now they have only 4 goals in 2 games. It's a little bit concerned. I'm concerned about Case, Bonding, Frenchy, and those all left winger. They go 2 years ago. Carl Dubas signed all the bunch of 35 years old or 32 years old and experience, everything like that. It does not work. He flipped over now and he's going with 24, 25, 26, 27. And that says it's not going to work. My point to you is, can this work a long run? We don't know. But honestly, they missed Austin Matthews, the catalyzer of the offensive side, of course.
Right.
But you have a lot of questions also. If you have a lot of questions, Montreal, the blue team over there is going to have a lot of questions. We'll see. Because Campbell cannot carry. Because without Nedeljkovic, who's next?
Well, they do have depth in the AHL. They have Petrozelli, I think, signed with them, and they have Hutchison, right? So
Hutchison is gone.
Is it? I thought they signed another veteran goalie in the minors.
Well, he was on the waiver list or something happened. I think they gave away. Maybe back on the Marlins now, but
he went
was
to the
not on the. He went to the waiver list, but I don't know if someone claimed it. I don't know what happened.
Let's take a look. It's a good question. So yeah, you know what? They have Michael Hutchison in the minors. So So they have Marlies. The Marlies have Michael Hutchison. So he's still signed on their roster. All right. So quickly, we got a lot of games to get through. Florida last night. Pittsburgh still playing without Malkin and Crosby. They're getting, I think, great leadership from Jeff Carter. We see Gensel get into the game and he scores, but Carter factors into a lot of plays, and he does not look like he's an old man, Pierre. He looks good. And I think obviously the exciting thing, if you're a Florida fan, is Aaron Ekblad gets 2 goals. You see Anthony Duclair from the 3rd, 4th line get a goal, and Carter Verhaeghe with 2 goals, including the game winner, I believe, in overtime, right?
Yep. It's a game. It's a game of momentum. That game, it was all Florida at the beginning. Then Pittsburgh come back to tie the game, and then after that they take the lead by 2, and then Florida tie the game again, and then they win the game in OT. If you go in OT against Florida, you're going to lose most of the time. Florida remind me a bit what Pittsburgh was like a couple of years ago when you go in OT with Malkin, a little bit what Tampa Bay are. When you have Edmund, Kucherov, Point, and the Sergachev and Palat, and you can go like that. Senko, Cirelli, Killorn, and everything like that. Same thing what they are. If you go to power play on the OT against Florida, you're going to find that. The Florida looks solid, four line looking great. It's a good team. Pittsburgh. If you're a Pittsburgh fans right now, or if you're a Pittsburgh, you go back home right now with 3 points in Florida. Because remember, we always said in the past, when you go play in California, it's going to be hard. Because the you know what I mean? San Jose was solid, Anaheim was solid, and LA was pretty much great at that time, those area time, right? Now, if you go in Florida, you're not going to be in vacation anymore. You're going to play against two solid team in NHL. It's going to be hard to give credit to Pittsburgh to take advantage. Again, a flat team at the first game, Tampa Bay, and they took 2 points and then get 1 point against Pittsburgh, against Florida. Great for Pittsburgh. 3-4. You cannot ask for more for Mike Sullivan this morning without Malkin, Crosby, and Guenzel. Congratulations for that team overall to get there. Rodriguez, another goal, second of the night. But again, Florida looking good. That's what we're talking about. And I think your Florida fans, Panthers, do not be worried. He's going to be in the top 2 of that division. They have too much depth. They have too much good team. The offensive is going to be about like 4 goals per night. They have so many talent over there, skill. And this is for years. It's not for 3 nights. It's for years. So Panthers, they'll be not surprised to make the Stanley Final Cup the next 3 years at some point.
For sure. I would agree. And Tippett looks good again. I will say, though, they gave up 47 shots. And for Pittsburgh to be able to get 47 shots without Malkin and Crosby is pretty impressive. Like, we keep thinking this team's going to fall off. They're done. They're not. This team, even without these 2 stars, are very resilient. And I think the acquisition of Carter was really big for them. So it's interesting. I don't love Pittsburgh. I don't want to see them win another cup, but they're still a competitive team. All right, let's go
a little bit concerned about the Florida. Not concerned, but I think at some point you cannot let play Ekblad 27 minutes per game.
Yeah, they need
like that will be not good enough. I'm concerned a bit how Orvis is going to carry on that 9 minutes every night. That'll be something special. I don't know why Lundell scored a goal, I believe.
It doesn't show up as him. Did they give it to someone?
I know that's some. I don't know why. I saw a picture of Endon Lundell this morning with the goal and a first on that one over there. So I don't know what is coming.
I wonder, was that the Ekblad goal or was it something else?
I don't know which one.
I don't see
him. Lundell on that one over there, so I don't know. But that's why I was curious about if someone was see that.
No assist. Quickly, Rangers lose again, this time in overtime to Dallas. Dallas looks really deep, so much so. First of all, Jacob Peterson was a great pickup for this team. It's like, who is this guy? Swedish-born player. There were 2 or 3 of these guys that played in the prospect tournament, played in preseason, and he's one of them. And he looks like he's earned a regular spot in this team, and he scores in his first ever NHL game. So congratulations to him. He's so new, Pierre. He doesn't have a headshot on NHL.com. He's still got a great
that's normal. You have a lot of things like that. A lot of players don't have the ESPN. But my point of this game again is injuries from John Klingberg and also the goaltender left the game after the second period, Old B. So for me, it's something you have to be a little bit concerned about that. Overall, it was a solid game. Both, honestly, Rangers have only 1 point right now in 2 games. That's another thing you have to figure out. But I think for me, it's a little bit all the see what happening about Klingberg. He was hurt at the first game, at first period, consistent to play, but he could not finish the game. So a little bit concerned when you lose. You talk about, John Klingberg for the Dallas, where they're already, concerned about their injuries all the time. So it's a team always look like every year they have problem with injuries. But it's a team have a lot of depth. It's a team should be a great year over there.
I think
so. And we'll see what happened, what will be also. But again, it was just a situation for what we heard. But would be interesting. A lot of chat. I think, Mike, you should look about other people talking in the chat.
I've been featuring up in there. So
everybody one by one. And so
I've already done that. So I don't know if I need to comment on these things. Like they've been kind of commenting on Lundell did well on the PK. Vallejo liked him with Barkov. Yes, Ellen, we'll get to the Dano goal. Dano played very well for LA last night. And overall, LA, I think, again, is going to surprise a lot of people. Like they were pretty dominant over Vegas last night. I don't think they were perfect, but man, they're going to be a really tough team to play against. They play heavy on the boards, but they got speed now. So it's going to be interesting. We'll look at that game. They definitely are going to, it's going to take time, Vallejo, as coach said, to basically tune up everybody's game. And I think the goalies too are trying to get, tuned up a little bit still. Yeah, and Lundell, Vallejo says, didn't score. And I think Peterson is probably in for Robertson, but Peterson played really well in the preseason. He played really well in the prospects. So I think this is a great pickup for them. And Bud the Monkey, you're right. 2 goals for Ekblad and 2 for Verhaeghe and a Duclair goal, all big news for Florida. Pittsburgh had a lot of shots. They had 9 power plays. Wow. So was that many penalties? That's crazy.
Well, at the beginning of the year, the referee is going to call a lot of penalties, return of that. So I think that's a problem. Montreal 6 yesterday, now 9 for Florida. You look about, they have an average of 4 power play per game, almost for both teams usually. So of course, it's not going to be always, but you can see another 5 over there every time of that. So so that happened. All this situation is just the situation. So I don't know how he feel this morning. He got some at the third period, have to go back and pick up some, but that's where they are. That one, no news about him this morning.
Hello, Stefan Manberg from Sweden. We appreciate you joining us as well. Just a reminder, if you guys have not already done so, please hit like on the video and let's bring some new friends. Florida is also playing a very heavy, tough game, team toughness. I think we're going to see a couple teams that are like this. LA has not abandoned this. We saw when a big, older, mature team, Vegas, was trying to play them tough in their own zone and on the boards. LA came out with the puck more often than not. They are a big team, Pierre, and we saw great performances from all 3 centermen. Like Velarde played real well, Dano played well, and Kopitar, obviously, with 5 points, played really well. Quick comment on Islanders versus Carolina. I think this is just going to be an ongoing battle throughout the year. Sorokin started out okay, but didn't end up, but they gave up it's unlike the New York Islanders to give up 40 shots. So lots of shots for Carolina in this game, and they kind of clawed their way through it. We saw a great game from Freddie Anderson, but I guess it wasn't that great. He faced 28 shots and let in 3 goals, but it's a win for him in his first game. Great performance from Andrei Svechnikov. He gets 2 goals in the opening game. I don't know if he got any assists in that game, but he got the 2 big goals. Did he get an assist?
Yeah, he had 3 points yesterday
on Teravainen's goal. And then we see Anthony DeAngelo get a couple of assists on the last 2 goals in the third period. So that's good news for them if he's contributing offensively. So this was an interesting game from that perspective. Just a note, Kotkaniemi plays 12 minutes and 18 seconds and is a -1.
$6.1 million, by the way.
Good deal. Yeah.
It's the score don't show exactly what it looked like, because at the end of the day it was 4-3 after 2. Islanders was hanging there. I'm not worried too much about the Islanders. They're hanging there. What you see there, they are maybe the best 2 team in that division, and it's going to be a battle between both of them all the way to the end of the year. I don't see that. See, again, I think for me, like you said, I think Chevnikov had a difficult time last season. Did not play well overall. Because you have a really good start rookie year. And then last season he dropped a little bit on everything like that. But for me, it would be more about Teravainen after concussion last year, the injuries, and to start the season the way he did it. Now it's pretty good about that. Yep. So I think Carolina is going to be surprised. And the key is like Frederik Andersen. Frederik Andersen is going to be great. I really believe Frederik Andersen healthy is maybe top 8 best goaltender in NHL. So
don't write off.
Very happy to have him at the salary he has right now. And Toronto is going to be me. Remember, so maybe we'll make a mistake over here. But got great game overall for the Carolina Hurricanes this start of the season. And they are entertaining to watch. You have a very fast team. If you are watching hockey, you love to have watching a great team play hockey the right way. It's the Carolina Hurricanes.
Yep, I agree that they're going to be really good this year. I don't think they're going to miss a beat from last year. All right, so last night I was at this game, Pierre. I'll comment on it quickly because it was a complete disaster for Arizona. It actually could have been a disaster for both teams because Columbus did not play well defensively, and Arizona actually took over the play in the second period, and they had a lot of opportunities without anyone like challenging them. And the guy that held them in was Merzlikins. So I think Elvis looks great. Last night, though, they also honored the goalie, Mattia Kivlenix. His family was sitting in the box next to ours, and John Davidson and Jarmo Kekalainen came up. They had a ceremony at the beginning of the game. Very emotional in the building. The building was packed, Pierre. They were also outside tailgating, and it's right downtown in Columbus. It's a great setup, very bare bones arena, but great fan support. It kind of mirrors what the city's like. So it was my first time in that nationwide arena. That was really a lot of fun. However, it was not fun watching this game, Pierre, because it's very obvious that the plan of Arizona to move all these players for picks. We know they have 3 first-round picks next year and 5 second-round picks so far. Their plan of putting Carter Hutton in net and then a Czech goalie who's never played an NHL game is obvious. You put the puck on net, it's going in. This guy let in 5 goals in the first 20 shots. It was, and they were not tough shots. Like some of them could be, he had no idea what was going on, Pierre. It was rough. So it's really hard to evaluate Columbus. If you watch them, they were a little bit scrambly. Good performances from, Bjorkstrand. Max Domi looked pretty good. So we'll see if he looks good against better teams, though. Cole Sillinger gets his first assist in the NHL, Pierre. So this is a great story. The 12th overall pick that came over in the Seth Jones trade. Jake Bean actually looks pretty decent. Buckfist is pretty good with the puck. Werenski's good with the puck, but they struggle without the puck in their own zone. They're going to have to work on that. And the veteran Anton Strawman looked pretty good for Arizona, by the way. It was the first night that Boone Jenner was the captain of the team, and Gustav Nyquist, who missed the entire season last year, gets a goal at the end of the game. And Roslovic looked good. So there's a lot of good stories in Columbus. I don't know if those will carry over to better teams. Playing Arizona right now is almost a guaranteed 2 points if those goalies are in net, and that's the only chance. Like the only chance they have is they got to get another goalie. Like Carter Hutton does not feel like he's an NHL goalie right now. And last year he looked bad, and the year before he looked bad. So to make this year number 1, it seems pretty obvious they're in the Shane Wright sweepstakes already. We'll see what happens. Nothing against Andre Tourigny, the new coach, but I think it just is what it is. And it was also the debut of Brad Larson. I don't think they miss a beat, Pierre. So that's a good thing. All right, let's go to the Detroit game really quickly because I want to have a little bit of time to talk about this.
Michael Hutchinson is not at the Marlin practice, so I'm pretty sure the Toronto Maple Leafs just recall him. It's not confirmed, but I just got this on Twitter.
Makes sense. Yeah, they're going to have to. Thoughts on Landeskog's suspension? What was the term of the suspension? I didn't see because I maybe you can comment on that. Yeah, Kotkaniemi was a -2 and played 12 minutes. We mentioned that before, so that was kind of rough. What a comeback from the Lightning against Detroit. Listen, the Lightning showed last night why they're Stanley Cup champions. There are so many weapons still on that team. I know they've lost a third line. Stamkos was dangerous. Kucherov was dangerous. Point was dangerous. And there's no answer for that when they turned it on. And Hedman's very tough to deal with. I will give credit to Detroit. They tried to step up. And they started out really good. And Tyler Bertuzzi, we know, is very motivated. He's a gritty guy, but he's got some skill. And to get 4 goals in this game, no joke. People were excited at 3. He come down and got 4. He almost had 5. He had a 2-on-1 in this game, and he almost had a 5th. The other great news about this, Lucas Raymond is for real. If you see the goal that he set up for Bertuzzi, like he is very confident with the puck. He gets the puck on the half wall. He steps in and freezes the Tampa Bay defender, moves the puck over to Fabry, who immediately moves it right back to Bertuzzi, who rifles it in. It was like, this guy is going to be such a great player, Pierre. This is great news for Detroit because they don't have anyone else like this at this moment. Like he is what you hope Zadina wakes up and becomes. I don't know what's going on with Zadina. He's still kind of in the clouds a little bit. He looks good on the ice. I think it might be just a matter of time. He's only played 87 NHL games, so maybe we got to give him a little bit of time still. But like, you don't need to give Lucas Raymond any time. This guy is an elite level talent. I will say Stamkos looked very good last night, and so did Kucherov. And that's probably bad news for the NHL as if you're playing them. Like when they decide to turn it on, they're tough to stop. If those two guys are healthy, this is going to be a really good year overall for this team. And Point looked good too. 5 assists already for Hedman Pierre. Pretty impressive. What's the point of keeping Chychrun if he'll be 30 when the rebuild is finishing? Well, we don't know that the rebuild will be finished then, and that we don't know they'll keep Chychrun. I think he'll be around. I don't think they're going to get rid of a defenseman like that. They're hard to come by. I think they're going to build around him, and he's just really hitting his stride in the NHL. If he needs to be healthy, but the way that he's playing is really good. So 2 games for Landeskog is what Bud said, by the way. Chychrun, I don't know. If they get, first of all, they really like Dylan Guenther Pierre. They have 3 first picks, and if one of them ends up being a Shane Wright or someone like that that's high end, that could change the fortunes of that team real well. They still have assets to trade. I can see someone wanting an Anton Strawman at a cheaper price if they retain salary. I can see, like, Phil Kessel looks so fat, Pierre. It's crazy. He just looks like a barrel, but he played well. He actually plays well. It's annoying. Anyways, all right. So just going back to Detroit. So some good news there. Nemenstikov gets on the board. Michael Rasmussen looks really good, Pierre. He is standing up to Hedman. He's standing up to other players on Tampa like Kaloran. He is a big man. He can skate, which he couldn't before. So I think he's going to have a really good year. He's just getting comfortable and getting going. So those are good news things for Detroit. But being up 6-3 and then losing 7-6, they let 47 or 46 shots against.
But, it's like a team with no experience. They just proved yesterday a team cannot close. You can see that. A good team in hockey shut down the team when you have a lead by 2 or by 3. If you cannot do that, that shows exactly what's happening. At the end of the day, this is a bad game for Nedeljkovic. Again, he gave the game the tie goal on Killorn and gave 6 goals overall. It's not great. But again, that team for me is like, if you're Tampa Bay, you're concerned. I think you can see they have a good players, but Vasilevsky looking bad. Honestly, he's not looking the Vasilevsky we know. I'm sure he will be back.
He'll be fine.
They gave 12 goals into game. It's not as a coach. It's not what you're looking for. If you're John Cooper, like you watched him last night, was not happy about nothing last night. He was unhappy. So we get a W. We don't deserve it. But we are proud to come back with 4 goals. But at the end of the day, I think overall, it's not what the Tampa Bay want to be at that moment. You cannot give 6 goals every game like that. And they have to rebuild their defensive and to get better, because you not build a champion team on your offensive side. You build your defensive side on your champion team. Sure. They have to be better on that way over there. On the good side for the Detroit, honestly, is a 4-goal Bertuzzi, but he's going to miss 9 games this season. So he's going to be hurt over there. You can see some flashing about Raymond, everything like that. This is more about the future. It's sad to losing a game like that when you have one of your players score 4 goals. It's not something happen every year, every game. So it's sad about that one over there. You are Detroit. You're upset about this. Honestly, you had the game on the plate, but you cannot close it. But it's a young team anyway, and to get 1 point. But he's excited as a fan watching 13 goals, and that's what NHL want, to get goal over there. But you have to get losing 5-6 minutes at the end of the game by 3 and find a way to tie the game.
But I think the one thing that we're not talking about is Danny DeKeyser, who was directly, like last year, responsible for turning over the puck and giving it away in a key time that allowed the other team to come back. And making the decision to play him in the last 4 minutes cost them the game. If you watch the play off of him, he passes basically to the other team in a panic move, and they come in and score. And then he does it again. Like, he's an older defenseman, and I realize you like the concept of the human eraser, but at some point you've got to pay attention. How many times is this one guy going to give away the puck? Like in key times. It was brutal to watch. And then they have him out there again in overtime. Like at some point, they got to clue in. You can't base it on guy's reputation. You got to look at the reality of this guy. That was really frustrating because I think he was directly responsible for Tampa being able to come back into that game. You can't give them an opportunity. He was brutal. He's a veteran, and I get that. But you go back to last year too. They were getting their game together. The young defensemen were playing well, and then you got Danny DeKeyser turning over the puck in key times. Like this guy can play a bottom six role, and that's it. And he should not be on the last 4 to 6 minutes. Like you go strong the last 4 minutes. Why would you put this guy out? He's not shutting anybody down, and he panics with the puck. So Sean, I agree with you. He was brutal. This was, I won't say it was a fait accompli before that, but he certainly gave life to Tampa at the end of the game there. So that was a little bit frustrating. Hi, Terry and Kim Pagula. Congratulations on your 5-1 win last night. I think overall we like what the coach is doing and the team looks good. Hopefully Queso Middlestad's not injured for long term. All right, let's look at a couple other games, Pierre, to wrap this up.
I think you forgot two big things, Major. The problem with Mathieu Joseph and Larkin. I think you.
I don't know. So do you think that Larkin, it was kind of a sucker punch. Do you think that, and there was a lot of stuff going on in that game. And that's why I say like Rasmussen was standing up. There was a lot of scuffles between these two teams. Do you think that Larkin will be suspended? I mean, I thought we would have heard something by now.
Yeah, he have a hearing this morning. It will be interesting what he's going to get out. Believe me, he was going to get one game. But again, I think Joseph should also get one game. Also, I think, he hit in the back.
Yeah.
And a little bit when you're in a bad position like Cody Dak was, that's the reason why Lestegard got 2 games, because he had no reason to hit Kirby Dak. He was already one knee down.
He was already down. Yeah,
so you don't have to hit that. On the flip side, Larkin, the reason Larkin react about this is exactly what I believe. He got hurt last season, broken hands and concussion, everything like that. So to get hit like that, when you don't expect a guy does it, that's the reason he replied. Now, he did not drop a glove and try to hit the guy. He was a lot of time in hockey when you have a glove in your hands, you try to hit the guy, you know what I mean? You punch, you try. It's just, I don't know they would get there, but the fact you got a match penalty or 5 minutes or anything like that would bring me at least, I assume, one game. Could happen 2 games. You never know what the NHL the safety, but I wouldn't be surprised to get one game.
They're not going to bring him in and not suspend him.
At the end of the day, this game was excited because at the end of the day, 13 goals, we have a lot of things, a lot of pushing and like that. It was great for hockey fans over there. Look, I think at the end of the 12 be fine with that part. It would be great. And I think also Maurice Saylor showed the reason was the best defenseman in the SHL last season. For me, it's like he played like a 24 years old at that moment.
He's a veteran, right?
The maturity has a hockey player he is right now, and the way he play, it's really calmed down. I don't know what I can player describe, but he can be another Scott Niedermayer at some point in this NHL. I don't.
He's not a great skater, though, is he, Pierre?
No, but but again, it's another way where sometimes look, Michael Bossy, he was not a great skater, but he find the way he play to produce. My point to you is like that's what Maurice Saylor does. Like it's not going to be about coffee, but the way he play
or Niedermayer
is always going to be to have that kind of the 2 ways every time that. Another one like this, Charlie McAvoy is not a speed guy. He's a little bit above, but he's not the fastest guy as a defenseman, right? But he's always find a way to find a hole and go the result at the end.
Yep. And Bertuzzi, that was great news for them last night. So I think some good stories for them. I don't like DeKeyser. I think this is time to move on from this guy at some point or reduce his role. Seider has great poise. I think you're right, Pierre. I love what he does. He never panics. If he gets into trouble, he's got such a great reach. He doesn't quit. He's got a little bit of meanness, and he's confident with the puck. And if he doesn't have the puck, he'll punish you. He's a young guy that plays tough, and he's going to
He's
get
going to
bigger.
make mistake, Michael,
He's
like
going to make
anybody
mistakes.
else, right? You can
Absolutely.
see last week, I think
Yep.
Patrick Laine go around him like crazy, right? But that's normal. That's just a learning process for him. But for me, it's about is the calm, like the just like you just said. It's just like
Yeah.
wow, this kid is really. I agree with Sean about him, and also, um, like who said that? Futsal is legit. You're absolutely right. The Detroit Red Wings have a lot of prospects coming. I think the key for them, the little bit disappointment around them, it's more Zadina. That's the only one where it's
Yeah.
Joe
They got to be
Villano.
patient
The
with him.
kids where I thought a little bit more. But again, I think if they can chance to give a chance to Rasmussen, I think Rasmussen is going to be a really legit second center in NHL.
He will. I think you are correct, Pierre. What we saw last night, first of all, I think all the problems started when Rasmussen got hit from behind into the boards. And he went headfirst into the boards and he got up like a bat out of hell. And he looked like he was going to rip somebody's face off. And the guy that was closest to him was Hedman, and he did not care. He stood up face to face. He's as big as Hedman. So this is good news for Detroit. He can skate now. We know he's got good hands, and he's playing tough. So I think you're correct. Like, what's not to like about this guy? Can you imagine if in a year Elmer Soderblom comes over and you got Rasmussen and Soderblom? Like Soderblom's playing in the Swiss league or the Swedish league, and he's a point a game right now, and he's a monster. Like to have two guys like that are that big and have that good a skill level, it's going to be interesting. I will comment on this guy, Brandon Tanev. Last night, the Seattle Kraken get their first win with a 4-3 victory over the Nashville Predators. Brandon Tanev gets 2 goals. Wenberg gets a goal. And I'm trying to think who the other goal scorer was that was good.
He left.
I'm back. Sorry. Yeah, so I was saying Jared McCann gets the other goal. So those are all players that you expect to score for Seattle. So congratulations to them on getting their first victory as an NHL team. Tanev now has 2 goals in 2 games, both of them last night. So I think overall, this is going to be a competitive team. We don't think Nashville is definitely going to be a top 15 team, but they're not a bad team. They had some good minutes from Tolvanen. Roman Yossi looks good. Granlund gets a goal and an assist last night. Barre Boulet gets an assist last night. So the waiver wire pickup, this is a good pickup for them. Zadina's defensive side is really good. I would agree with you, Sean. I think he just needs confidence at this point because he's doing all the right things. He finds space. He's just shooting a little bit off right now. I think he's panicked that he's not scoring. This is a guy that's used to scoring big time in minors and big time in the queue, and he hasn't really found his comfort level yet, but the skill is obvious. He doesn't do anything bad for them. He is very defensively responsible, and you're seeing he's creating opportunity with his speed. So I think we just got to calm down on him. I think he's panicking. He's not that old. I think he needs to just get time. He's only played 87 NHL games.
But my point was like they not draft him for his defensive side. He draft him for his offensive side as a sniper. He got, how many points he got. It was between him and Shevnikov when they draft him. He just did not reach his full potential or his expectation. The reason why the Detroit get him, and that's my point behind that about this. So
I don't think there's anything about him.
Just take time with him about that.
All right, so congrats to Seattle. I do have to jump in about 3 minutes, Pierre. So I do want to get to the last game because it was a big doozy one, which was the LA Kings last night get 5 points from Anze Kopitar. This guy, I don't know. I think LA is going to surprise a lot of people. We saw this. They got Philip Dano. Dano looks really good. Kopitar looks good. Velarde had opportunity last night and played well defensively on top of it. And then I will say the fourth line in this team looks really good. Arvidsson looks good. So I did not think, who didn't look good to me was the goalie. Like Cal Peterson had a little bit of struggle, but it didn't matter. Like this team has got a lot of speed, a lot of depth. And when they had to play hard against a big, heavy Vegas team, they had no problem whatsoever. Like they were winning the board battles and they were playing a tough game in the corner. So this is going to be interesting to see. Doughty looks solid. I think, Zach Bogosian is gone. And this is the thing. This player who Kachev looks like he's fitting in the top 6 very well. He's highly skilled. He's a little smaller, but he's a quick player that played in the KHL, and he's got a lot of skill. He can set guys up, and he can shoot the puck a little bit. So I think all good news for them.
Well, it's funny because when you look at Los Angeles, we talk about the prospect they have. Sakat, Byfield, Vasilev, everything like that, right? Well, we completely forgot they have a lot of veterans inside that team, right? Jonathan Quick, Doherty, Kopitar, Dano, Brown, Avison now is there, right? So it's not like a team is not like on the line like Anaheim or Ottawa or right? A team look like them, Michael, is the New Jersey Devils. Maybe. They have two teams similar right that part over there. So for me, if they gotta come Yafalo and Kachev behind those veterans, I think that they will be a little bit better what the people expect. I believe they're going to fight a spot with Calgary and Vancouver. I think Saddle, I just want to mention, Saddle be the team right now. They're going to be on the same level, the 20 to 25 position in NHL. So as Zolan said, I think Los Angeles have a better chance to make the playoff this year like anything else.
I agree.
On the flip side, I know you have to go. I would just said my biggest question this morning said hope for the Vegas did not last the captain for months and months, because that remind me a little bit what happened to Al Secor. And I think we'll see what happened with Mark Stone. If it's only a minor hope, it is, because Max Stone is maybe one of the most important players for Vegas. It's really the complete players in NHL about both ways. Who's been a great hockey player. I mean, Pacioretty is a one sniper, but Stone is more the two-ways players. Again, if you're a Vegas fans, you have to be concerned about Leonard get removed after the second period, after 40 minutes.
They're gonna have to do something.
I'm concerned about Vegas. I put them a second in that division, but that's the reason I put them in second. I feel like they're not going to be like he was before in the past. A lot of pressure on that organization. But at the end of the day, cannot be more happy for Kopitar with 5 points, and Drody yesterday with 4. Dano score, and now he's on the pace to score 82 goal next year. So it'll be interesting if he can get that pace. But he was not paid for goal. He was paid
he
for the
defensive
side. He's going to fit well with there. We'll see from that part.
A couple quick notes. Alexander Edler's incredibly slow. We saw William Karlsson walk right around him. That was really bad. Peyton Krebs is the real deal. He will be a top 6 in Vegas this year. The guy that's quiet is Nolan Patrick. All right, Pierre, do you want me to leave you on?
That's fine. That's no problem. It's like you have to go now.
I have to go.
I don't know. You have some other question?
Nope, that's it. I'll let you deal with it. But if not, I can play us out.
Oh, we can be out. We're going to be back 5 o'clock Eastern time tonight, and tonight at 9 o'clock also. So I look forward to see you, everybody, each one of you. Have an amazing, great Friday, and I will see you tonight.